have Kevin Hollinrake, the chairman of the Conservative Party, and just to tick, loads of you responding to the Breakfast Club story. The government announcing today a rollout of 500 more breakfast clubs. The open letter to Keir. Dear Chair K, I'm a self-employed. My income is under 20 grand a year. I work 6 days a week, just paid my latest tax bill. My electricity, gas, water, council tax bills as well. I can't afford a dentist, even a night out. I worked it out that if I was on benefits, I would be better off, i.e. I would get help with all of my bills. My rent would be paid for me. Works out I'd get about 15, 16 grand a year. I know benefits are a lifeline for many people, and I would never, ever want that to change. What I'm asking is, why can't people like me be better off with incentives like no tax out with bills? It's a no-brainer. He's basically saying, as John is, that we've been saying all week. How can you end up with a situation in this country where people are saying, is it worth my while working? Today we hear 500 more migrants daily signing up on benefits. I will repeat, really happy to go to work and pay my taxes for those less well off. People who can't help themselves, the mentally ill, the disabled. But we actually, as a society, have to have this discussion. People are gaming the system and taking advantage, and it doesn't work. Kevin Hollinrake, a very good morning to you, sir. They tell me you're cold. Look at you on the... You've done the leaves. You're looking freezing, man. Are you all right?
No, I'm not cold. I'm from North Yorkshire. We're brought up harder than that.
Good man. Great to have you on. Thank you so much indeed. So much to talk about today. Can I ask you about this story? 500 migrants a day signing up for benefits. I say to every politician, and I say to you, Kevin, the British people are literally at the end of their tether. They are being taxed and will still more next week to the end of their lives. And many, in their hundreds, are contacting us saying, what's the point of even going to work when people get more for doing nothing or breaking into our country illegally, Kevin?
Well, I agree with that. That's why we've come out with a plan to cut £47 billion of the cost of running government, including £23 billion in terms of welfare spending on people with certain conditions such as low-level mental health. There's no way in the world that people should be better off in those situations than people who are going out every day and working hard. That's what we've got to have, a system that rewards hard work, and that's why we want to reduce taxes, not increase taxes. But I'm afraid you're seeing the opposite from this government, and we've offered them a lifeline in terms of supporting them in terms of welfare reform, but they're not interested. They're not interested in working on that because their backbenchers are too strong for Keir Starmer, who's too weak. We need a leader with some backbone, I'm afraid, and that's not what we've got.
Don't take this the wrong way. You're the chairman of the Tory party, Nanda Kemi Badenoch. Even I would respectfully suggest that she's definitely turned a corner and her performances are better, and you're getting together a plan that perhaps people can listen to. But you're on the back foot because after 14 years of not doing what you said you're going to do, the British public stopped listening. Do you feel personally, do you feel a sort of moral responsibility when you look at this appalling shower of a government? I don't think I've ever in my 60 years come across any government this badly equipped. Do the Tory party feel guilty that this was their fault?
Well, of course we take responsibility for the things we got wrong, no doubt about it. And at times we took our eye off the ball in terms of things like migration. But that's why we need Kemi. She's the strongest leader I've known in all the time I've been in Parliament in the last 10 years. That's what we need. We did some very good things in 14 years against the backdrop of some challenging circumstances. COVID, cost of living crisis, the mess we inherited in 2010, but we made some mistakes, particularly on migration, and the welfare bill started to increase when we hit COVID and the aftermath of that, and we reacted too slowly to those things. We did start to get on top of things like the small boats. We legislated to stop them. Again, in the face of the challenges from the Lib Dems and Labour and the Green Party who tried to stop us, but we put that legislation in place with the Rwanda bill. What does Keir Starmer do as soon as he takes office? He scraps it. And, you know, so of course we made mistakes, and of course we should hold our hands up and say those things we didn't get right, but we got many things right. What we have now is a leader willing to take the very tough decisions. So to bring this deportation bill to basically deport anybody who has arrived here illegally, that could be around 750,000 people who are here illegally, which would reduce that benefits bill you're talking about, but also crucially do it in a way where we've got a stronger economy. We're the only party that has got a plan, a team and a plan to make sure we live within our means. That's what we've got to do. So every other party who wants to run this country would, for example, scrap the two-child benefit limit. That's totally wrong. We're the only party that will stand up for things like that, and that's because we've got a strong leader with a plan for a stronger economy with stronger borders.
Let me ask you about that. I'm very similar in that I think it's an absolute joke that we're saying to people, and it's not popular, but, you know, we'll pay for you to have more kids now than two. Just keep procreating. We've got to a point, I think, Kevin, where so many people are reliant on the state. Breakfast clubs. Today, the government announcing a rollout of 500 more breakfast clubs. In my opinion, might not be popular. I think you have to take responsibility for your kids. When I was growing up, we were clean, we were fed, and your parents went without, OK? You can't just keep procreating and expect the people paying taxes and going to work every day to wipe your backside. I'm guessing you'd agree with that, right?
I do agree with that. You know, I mean, we're giving schools more and more responsibility to do things that parents should be doing. Now, I'm not against breakfast clubs in certain circumstances, and we put those things in place in certain schools in certain circumstances where you've got real deprivation. But nevertheless, generally, it's a parent's job where they can to feed their children and to make sure their teeth are brushed and make sure they're well dressed and go to school on time. All those kind of things are proper conservative values, personal responsibility. So I do agree with you, Jeremy.
Do you think, just very quickly to finish, we saw yesterday that left-wing man, Clive Lewis, MP for somewhere in Norwich, I think, say that he'd give his seat up for Andy Burnham. There is talk, non-stop talk, that Keir Starmer is a dead man walking. Who'd have thought, genuinely, 16 months ago, when you were trounced and he marched into Downing Street with the biggest majority since, well, post-war numbers came out, that it would be such a paralysed operation? It is, isn't it, Kev?
It's chaos. It's chaos, Jeremy. There's no doubt about it. And I mean, the reality is, you know, we lost last July, fair and square. You know, we made some mistakes and we paid the price. But it was never the case that Keir Starmer was popular on the doorstep, and he's much less popular now. And he's just not the strong leader we need right now. We've got so many challenges in our economy, and things have gone backwards at a rate of knots since he took over. So it really, and that's why you're getting all this talk of a leadership challenge, because he's just not the strong leader we need. I believe Kevin Burnham is that person, and we need, you know, we'd love to have an early election so we can decide who the country would like to see run the country now. And for me, Kevin Burnham is the only choice we have if people want that stronger economy, stronger borders.
Just very quickly, did you see the open letter Starmer sent to his son? Nauseating thing overnight. Did you see that?
I did.
You've only got 10 seconds. What would your open letter be to Keir? Dear Keir, what would you say?
Well, I hope his son writes him one back, said, "Dear Keir, pull yourself together."
Good man. Kevin Hollinrake, thank you very much indeed. Tory party chairman, braving the cold there on College Green outside the Houses of Parliament. Daphne